All right, Lee, so this week we're going to be talking about the movie Rogue.
Oh, the spin-off. The X-Men spin-off film. We've been talking about this whole time.
Indeed. This is a 2007 creature feature. It is one of the rarer creature features that is of like a higher film production value, has like actors.
Okay.
A director you've probably like seen his work.
Okay.
These are Wolf Creek movies.
These are good things to have, actors.
Yes.
And things. What is Wolf Creek? That sounds really familiar.
Wolf Creek is let's see, it's like Australia's answer to Hostel.
Oh no.
That's actually a weird sell. That's not super accurate.
But it's not the thing with Bon Jovi in it.
No.
At the school.
No.
During the summer. That's Cry Wolf.
That's Cry Wolf.
Cry_Wolf.
This I'll add a caveat. So it's more like Hostel was mixed with like Joyride almost, and
when the Hostel comes
set
to you
in Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see Wolf Creek, but I've heard of it, and I think that
good movies. They even launched into a TV show.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how well it did. I haven't heard much about it.
That's terrifying, but Australian. That's good. Shall we do the...
Yeah, read the back.
From the director of Wolf Creek, here we go, comes this terrifying look at nature's perfect killing machine. When a group of tourists stumbles into the remote Australian river territory of an enormous crocodile, the deadly creature traps them on a tiny mud island, with the tide quickly rising and darkness descending. As the hungry predator closes in, they must fight for survival against all odds. Starring Michael Vartan from Alias, Radha Mitchell from Silent Hill, Rogue delivers intense action and breathless suspense as it speeds towards one of the most intense final showdowns ever filmed.
So the girl from Silent Hill, you might know her better as the girl from Pitch Black.
Oh, Captain, I'm sorry I had to do that to you guys. I didn't mean to try to kill you, but we have a movie to do now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite.
And then it also has the main character from Avatar in this.
Okay.
He's not a big role, but he is in the
Sully.
movie. Yeah.
Of the Jarhead clan.
Yeah, what else is he in? He was in something else.
He's an actor, right? He's famous.
Yeah.
He's in things. That's okay. Wow.
No, but good people are in this movie.
Yeah.
So like the dude from Alias, he's also in like 1 Hour Photo and like a couple other things. But like he has like a familiar face.
Okay.
And like wasn't a super into Alias, but he was like a main character of the show. And you're like, Jennifer Garner, that guy. Okay, cool.
Was he? I never watched Alias.
He was like her handler.
I was just gonna say,
yeah.
is he her like Bosley or her Q or whatever it is? Yeah.
Wasn't big into that show, but
no,
but it would catch it every now and again. But no,
I was aware of it.
This movie, so when this movie came out, I remember picking it up, new release.
Oh, have you seen this movie?
Oh yes, I've seen.
Oh, there we go. I'm like, you seem to know a lot about this. How are you doing this?
No, I actually
okay.
I saw it when it came out, and I remember going like, wow, that's a very well done creature feature film. Like, where you don't really get that too much anymore. You like, there's a couple every like decade where you're like, oh, okay, that was cool. This is whatever.
Well, it's
there's your Lake Placids where it's like this is a monstrous, like crocodile that is loose in an area where it's not supposed to be.
From the Precambrian era.
But this is just a crocodile. There's nothing exceptional about it. It's just you're in the wrong place, the wrong time kind of movie. Like it's very a realistically done movie.
It sounds it from the back. It sounds like a territorial.
Like if you heard this is based on a true story, I'd be like, of course it was.
Of course, just like Jaws.
Yeah.
Based on a true story. No, that's cool. Okay, because like I think that the creature feature became like the purview of the sci-fi original.
Yes.
The like three-headed this versus flying that sort of situation.
And this is not one of those.
This is like a real movie.
Yeah. This was made to be realistic. Like the croc looks pretty good.
Okay.
And like a real croc, you don't see it that much because you wouldn't.
Okay. Maybe this will be the one then. I'm interested. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, let's check it out. We'll be back with non-spoilers in a second.
Did I question? I care about you. And did I question? I care about you.
All right, so Rogue. Non-spoiler,
Rouge.
what did you think?
I did not love this movie. It is certainly a real movie.
Definitely a real movie. You can't argue that.
You promised me that, and it happened. Mm-hmm. I want to say my enjoyment was like an exact bell curve.
Okay.
Where
explain that a little.
Like if like this axis is like level of enjoyment, and this is time of the film, my enjoyment was like localized around the middle of the movie.
Okay.
And then it like fell off at the end, and it took a while for it to like build in like the beginning. So,
I don't. So I have a very different.
You have
opinion.
the opposite.
I think this movie, it's very realistic to me. I really love that. You can tell that like a majority of this was filmed like directly in the Australian outback,
in the water,
and then like the other parts, which I believe are like like tanks and sets for things, like most of the night stuff. I believe they had that fake. I think they had fake sets that looked a lot like the actual sets.
Okay. Yeah.
And like just the realism was really there. Like the amount of flies and stuff on people's faces and things. You're like, that's because you're filming.
Yeah.
And I think the movie itself did not have the curve for me. I was like, nope, this is a lean, straight line. I thought there was very little fat on this movie.
Gotcha.
I thought that it went like, all right. Like it didn't really. There wasn't a lot of like needless dialogue. There was no like bullshit. There was no false setup for fake whatever. Like you had minimal like character development points for characters that like weren't your main people, and even then, even your main people barely had any dramatic setup.
Sure.
And I thought that while might sound bad in quotes, was great for what it was, because it's about people on a little what would you call that? Like an excursionary trip to see crocodiles. They're like not friends. They're not family.
It's like a boat tour.
So like their dialogue amongst themselves is that which you would have with a stranger. Like it all felt like, I'm like, this seems pretty good. And the scenario they were thrust upon unfolded nicely, and it did keep me going like, all right, well, what's gonna happen? Like, oh, this is a horrible scenario that I would never want to be in myself. So like, let's watch and just keep shoveling popcorn.
Without spoiling, there's a moment where like things start to happen.
Yes.
It just smacks you in the face. And at that point I was like, yay! Because I was like, finally, something's happening in this movie. I was super bored for like most of that beginning part. And I'm the one that likes the talking and like the BS stuff. But I just was like, oh my God. It was kind of like, this movie to me feels like Hatchet mixed with like Tremors or something like that. We have this whole boat tour and this whole weird
but for anybody
thing
who hasn't seen it, that description, it's not a funny movie at all, and those are both comedies. Yes. So I don't know if that's the best.
We should hold off.
This is a very serious movie.
This is completely serious, and like I said, I enjoy a lot of this stuff. Like the back, spells out that they're on this mud island or whatever. Everything around and on the mud island, I was like into that. But then before and after the mud island, I was like not as into the movie basically.
Okay.
So
before.
Yes.
Like so, the beginning, middle, and end. The beginning, very, very colorful, picturesque. This setting of the area, I thought was really cool.
And like
weird people.
They splice in, I think, what might just be like nature footage.
Yeah.
I don't know if like
I doubt they filmed any of that.
Yeah, like the crew for this, because it'll just cut to like a bug on like a branch, but it was super high res, like 4K Earth, planet Earth.
Even just the crocodile footage, them like attacking like a bison or whatever. I was like, all right, we got some good stuff here.
So it has some of that vibe going, like some other stuff we've seen with this,
So like we have contrary opinions here
spicy
on this film. So before we get into the spoilers, I'm going to say I give this a thumbs up. It sounds like Lee is a thumbs down.
Well, I don't know. Like I feel like if you like, I'm kind of torn, because I don't know if people who like creature features like, Hagfish from the Black Thing fights the whatever, right? Like trashy type movies.
Those are sci-fi originals. I barely consider those to be in the same realm.
But that's like what I hear a lot of, like, yay, it's another horrible like thing or whatever.
Yeah, so, this is a more approachable creature feature where if you're just a person that likes good horror, I think you can get into this one.
Yeah, I think if you're like horror with an animal thing is like this is like, oh, they made like a high production value one of those that we can go check out, and like I would totally recommend it to like those people. But like personally, I'm not as into that type of thing, so this was not like the one for me that made me go like, yay.
Sure, this is more like Primeval and less like Crocodile. So like if you know what those are, let that shape your guide. Those are two different crocodile movies.
Yeah. But certainly very grounded, certainly not some weird, like it doesn't cut to like a dummy and some stupid like, oh, this is a jokey thing. Like it's a real movie, it's got real lighting, real actors, real stuff.
You feel the sense of urgency, which is not something that is typically in a bad creature feature movie.
And
so
no one shows up with those like 3 slash marks that you talk about. That like the crocodile's not getting bigger and smaller depending on like what it has to do. Like all of those things are not like there.
No typical sins of the genre.
So,
all right, guys, so we're going to head off into spoilers where we'll go into the details and things we liked and didn't like. If you've seen it or don't care, we'll see you there. And if not, punch out now.
If you need a place to rent content, you better listen. We're Cannibal Video and we eat the competition.
All right, guys, so here we are for the spoilers on Rogue.
Roger.
Yeah. All right, so the nitty gritty. Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah, at like 29 and a half minutes when the Croc rams the boat, I was like, what? Something's happening. Holy shit. And some of the dialogue in the beginning is fine, but in general, I was super bored. And I was like, I get it. It's a cast of it's a motley crew. It's an unlikely group of people on a boat. And I was like dying. I was like, what the fuck?
Really?
Yeah, it was very boring to me.
Tickets. Dad, have you got the
Tickets. Like compared to some weird, pretentiously boring things we've watched in the past, this doesn't grab me as having any of those types of vibes. There were like weird people and kooky people and stuff that I'm like, oh, that guy's eating a sandwich in his bag. Like, okay, like I don't know what that shot was about, or like,
well, like we had one where the guy is like, my lens is pretty big, eh? Yeah, no, it's like 300, like what? And he's going into his whole thing, like creeping on the girl, and I was like, I've gathered the necessary information about this character.
155 mil. Doubler pushes it out to 300 mil, but who's counting? No, I'm not.
Oh, that's very impressive.
It is indeed.
And it's like going still and weird stuff, and I'm like, everything just felt super slow and like stretched out to me. It was
character, like that led more into the where I'm like, it feels so real.
Are there many attacks on people?
Tourists occasionally.
That's important.
Like I'm like, everyone's met that douchebag.
No,
who was sitting there and trapped you in a conversation.
Definitely have that guy in the movie. That's great, and definitely have that conversation. But just like,
was that the guy that was
so...
dead at the end in the entranceway to the? No, he wasn't. Who was the?
That's the
I now
boyfriend.
think that guy was alive.
That's Sam Worthington. I've since
was
checked his
that
name.
okay? Because when that one happened, as I was even saying that, I'm like, no, he was alive at the end because they were taking him away in the whatever.
I think it was supposed to. It's like
they didn't show enough things that I was like, I'm like, it's dark and
his face is messed up, but it is supposed to be, as far as I know, Sam Worthington's torso like bobbing around in there or whatever.
I was looking for the man, the legend, or whatever, and I didn't see it.
The legend, little stuff like that, and like so, like a lot of the kind of stuff you're talking about, for me, took place on the Mud Island.
Sure, the Mud Island is the best part of the movie because it's the creepiest, most like fuck this whole scenario. People, their truth is coming out. You see how people really act.
Don't you fucking touch me! Don't you fucking come anywhere near me! You fuck off, mate!
I really enjoyed everyone's different reactions to the situation and their conflicts and all that stuff. I was all about that and all that. I just felt like it took too long to like get to that because it's like a 90-minute movie and a third of it is spent just people on a boat talking, which again is the kind of thing that I usually like. But here, I did not like it. No.
It didn't jump out at me.
Like 12 minutes would have been awesome. Would have been like, I'm so glad that we met those characters so we could see the contrast between how they are later. But it was just, I'm like, we're almost to our second 12 minutes of setup. Like, what are we doing?
Do you want to sit there?
No.
There's a spare seat. Sit there.
I paid for
You're
this
better than
seat.
me. Sit there.
Well,
Really? No,
with
sit
the
where we're
Irish girl.
But you also had an issue with the last third.
Third's probably not fair. There's kind of like a because there's like
post Mud Island.
There's like a quiet part after the Mud Island where our like hero man from out of town is like following the dog and cursing and like the sun's rising or whatever and all that stuff.
Kevin, come here! Kevin, come here, you little shit!
Then we get to like the creature's lair. There are some good things in that, but it just felt really weird as like a movie where I'm like,
that lair. I was so impressed that it even existed.
Yeah, it's a cool thing.
I'm like, they had to build this. This isn't something they found. It's amazing.
It feels super like not real. Like everything else in the movie feels super real. And then when he slides down that thing, it's like, now we're in the Ewok Adventure 3 where you have a weird like lair, some impossible, like he goes into like a tree stump and he's somehow in this weird.
Well, he's in a cave.
Yeah, but it's this like crazy with roots and all this. It feels like a set from a movie. It feels like there'd be like a little table over there and there'd be little like Star Wars things or Star Trek things or something.
I didn't get that vibe. To me, that looks like the pit that would have like 50 alligators in it, but because this guy's like the brute of the area,
at the zoo,
rogue.
At the zoo, maybe, right? Where
But
they
model
build it for
those
them or whatever.
off of real world.
But it feels like a fake thing at the zoo. To me, it did. It felt like a habitat instead of like an actual place where things live. I think it might have been like too clean in spots or something. I don't know why I feel this way. But I was just like, and now it's time for the final battle where a tiny man somehow will like do something, and then she's alive, and I'm like, how are you alive? This is insane.
Her being alive
Like,
definitely a stretch for me, because I'm like, even if the wounds didn't kill her, where I'm like, well, they probably would have killed her. He swam away with her. She would have been underwater for how long?
So like,
and people do, pop out of things. That guy was under the ice for an hour and a half.
Well, and like when he's like taking her pulse and being like, oh no, oh no. I was like, don't wake her up. She'll immediately start screaming. Like, she's not going to be happy at all. And then, like, that kind of happens a little, but, like, not really.
Yeah.
I honestly would have super appreciated her doing that, like when you wake up from, like, surgery. I've been around for, like, a few people, and they wake up, like, oh, and, like, they have this crazy realization of, like, what is wrong with my body? This hurts so much. And it's such, like, an awesome... And that actress is pretty good. I feel like she could have really done some... But she's just kind of, like, out of it, like...
She grabs me as more famous than she is. Like, I was poking around, like Super. I'm like, oh, her. I remember, because I've seen this before, but like, I don't think I clicked on who she was then. But then I was like, oh, she's really famous. I'm like, oh, she's not as famous as I thought she was.
Well, like you nailed it for me. We're going into it now. I was like, oh, it's the captain from Pitch Black, my favorite.
Center of gravity too far aft. Recommend purging ballast now. Recommend.
But I literally have no other idea who she is from anything else at all.
She gives me like, oh, you're on par with Naomi Watts, but you're not.
Naomi Watts. Oh no, she's like a tiny speck.
Yeah,
next to.
But she's really good. I really enjoyed her performance.
Really good in this.
I thought she was good.
Do you know who in this has an accent or not in like real life?
She does.
And
I
is
believe.
She one of them? Yeah. Because Sam Worthington is English, I think. He doesn't have this accent, right? But he fucking nailed it. Yeah. He's an underrated. No, I don't.
Is he English or is he Australian?
I think he's English.
Yeah, and they make fun of my accent all the time. They're like, "G'day, Dad. How are ya?" It's.
Okay, I'll believe it.
We can fact check.
I know he's not American at the very least. Right. Yeah. I just naturally assume that everybody except for what's his name, the guy in the suit from Alias, is just Australian.
Is that guy not Australian?
I don't think he is.
Okay.
I think
he's just American.
I think he's an American.
Or British, because they're amazing.
British are better than Americans in terms of acting. So yes.
And like he could have done an entire. I looked it up while we're watching it. It's like. He's not, because you said he's like a main part of the show, and I'm like, I'm sure he is. Yes, it's like Alias, 96 and more episodes.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, okay, you're in like every episode of Alias. Like, damn.
My husband is right. It is my fault.
Go ahead.
So yes, and yes, if he's a British actor, he could have kept it up the entire time. But,
certainly.
But yes, I would be shocked. Yes.
But just based on like. It seems like Australian movies feature Australian actors. Yes. It just seems to be a thing, so I just assumed everyone else was Australian.
That's why I asked my question, because I'm like, well, these all must just be Australian, or like New Zealand does this too. It's like, I guess everyone in this movie was just around that day, and they were like, hey, good day, mate, let's do a thing. Yeah. Awesome.
Going got on shrimp on the barbie?
On the boat to, yeah.
Some little known fact, they never put shrimp on any barbecues.
No, they just eat it raw. They're disgusting.
All right, so you weren't a fan of the beginning, not a fan of the end. The middle was good for you. What were your flaw moments across the movie?
Oh, well, I've already talked a little bit about, because like, you know, the ending with her being alive is kind of unrealistic to me. The setting is kind of unrealistic. Even if that's that, you know, you could tell me, no, they filmed that in like a real place. That really happened. It still just feels like a lair. It feels like a boss battle.
I agree that it felt like a lair, but to me it felt like, when you say it looks like an enclosure at the zoo, and I'm like, well, they work very hard to make those look like they look in the real world.
But you can always tell it's fake, and it's goofy and weird, and has
it
like
didn't
well-defined ends or something
like
that.
You know, like when they're trying to cover a transformer, and they put a big plastic rock on it. I didn't get any of those kind of vibes.
It might have been the like how well it was lit or something too. Maybe that was.
Well,
it or
yeah, there
something
was like a skylight in it. It had like a puncture through the ceiling, so it did have light.
Like I didn't really analyze this ahead of time to be like so I can like defend why it felt fake to me, but it didn't. And like that's not a deal breaker. That's fine.
The movie lighting definitely felt like fake movie lighting because yes, there was 2 points of light, but the whole room is completely lit.
Yeah, it might have been creepier. Obviously, I don't want it to be so dark you
lighting
can't see
worked
anything,
well though.
but,
you have a problem with CG characters where the lighting
Yeah.
won't look good on them, and I thought it always worked well on the Croc itself. The Croc was done well. It was, like I said before, it's used very sparingly as a crocodile would. You see it for the moments it is attacking, and then it is gone. You might see its tail here and there, and I thought, oh, that looked great.
Yeah, if we do positives instead, right? So like the Croc does look good. I love how sometimes, like I think twice, someone like dies and everyone looks and the Croc's gone.
What channel is it?
Yes.
And you're like, wait, what? Or something like that. And then when you see how big it is, how fast it is, all that stuff. There's a scene in the end, which is like probably like my favorite part of like the end, where he's like sneaking out with her. That that whole thing is awesome.
Like keeps looking back.
And he keeps looking back, and then he finally looks back. Something about, I don't know if it was me or like the look on his face or what, but it really captured that moment of like terror of like, oh no, where is it? And then it's like there. And stuff. That was awesome. Yeah.
Because you're kind of like, is he going to throw her down and run? Because shit. And like he came down a water slide. You're like, what is his plan? How's he gonna quickly, silently get out of here? He's not.
Yeah.
And you see him at one point even look to the sky. He's like, could I like throw her up there? I don't know.
So what am I gonna do with this? Oh man.
Oh, it's brutal. One dude gets attacked, and it like bites his arm off and then grabs him. And like that guy's face as he's like in its jaws, one arm flailing because he only has one. And like the first thing he says before like he gets eventually grabbed and taken out, he's like, ah, my arm! And then he's like, ah! And his daughter and his wife are watching like...
Is that the dad? Yeah, he dies horribly. Yeah, that was a good thing.
He deserved it. He was a bastard.
That whole sequence is so dope. I love like everyone's, we already said this, but everyone's like crazy bad reaction to the situation. Like
their realistic, panicked reaction to what is happening.
I haven't come this far for that to go down some pile of mud in the middle of nowhere because you're not prepared to make a sacrifice.
Because that's like what happens in like very, very low stakes things in life where it's like, well, now everything is ruined because you had to be a prick. So you had to push your way through and now the thing is ruined. Oh, we're going to do.
So they're on a little island where their boat has a hole in it. They manage to get to this little island.
Oh, shit, we're sinking. Oh my God, we're sinking. We're sinking. What's happening? Come on. Well, we're moving.
And the water is rising, which is making this island disappear. They manage. One guy manages to swim across with a rope, and he's strung it so they have like maybe 6 feet between the water and them to climb to the shore to hopefully get to safety. And one girl who is panicked asked to go first. She goes, gets halfway through, and freaks out.
She's stopping.
Can't move. She's just petrified. And they're screaming at her to move, and she's not moving. They scream to the other side to the guy who brought the thing. And they're like, yo, get her to move. He like drops his flashlight, gets killed. They don't even know he's gone. And he's dead at this point.
Yeah,
and
I like
now,
that too. That they don't know that he's dead. Yeah.
On the island, they're like, oh, just fuck it. And he like puts his daughter to just climb. I'm like, what were you gonna do when you got to her? Were you gonna climb over and around her?
Or like knock her off, I thought. It was gonna be,
I don't know. We didn't even get to that point.
I know.
The rope will take 3 people, okay? I am not going to let that woman endanger the life of my wife and my
Slow down and think about what you do.
And then after he gets his daughter up, the heavy man goes up.
Yeah.
She's not moving.
For Christ's sake, move!
Again.
Completely leaving his crippled wife just on the beach, like, she'll be fine.
And people are shouting, like, it can't hold all of you,
Yes.
like, stop it, don't do this. But various people have various jobs to do for this operation.
Yeah.
So you see that and like a few people play it off really well. Like, well, I'm supposed to be shining this light to watch for the thing, but I keep turning, like, no,
Yes.
stop doing it. Like, it's this awesome little, like, that part to me, like, was super good. I
Even
really
like there's a guy with a night vision camera.
Yeah, to try to
and
get it.
he like thinks he sees the crocodile, but doesn't say anything because I guess he's not sure if he sees
There's
it.
one point where he tries to like shout something, but everyone's crazy and screaming. I don't know if anyone hears him or something. It's great.
Hold on. Just moved. Hold on. It's all right, I'm here. We're crossing no time.
It's really great.
Oh.
All this is great. I love this a lot.
And then the weight of these 3, grown-ass people on this thing bring the tree down that was holding it aside.
Yeah.
And now they're just in the water.
Right.
Oh my God, like so many scenarios in this, I'm like, I can't even imagine what I would do. What would you do in this scenario?
Swim.
I don't know. Because the problem is you can hope and think you know things. Like, okay, that one just got eaten by the croc. I could probably swim right now and maybe I'll get it across because he's busy eating that one. But is there only one? I have no reason to believe there's only one. Yes, that's a very large crocodile. They're semi-territorial, but what if they're all that big and then it doesn't matter how big that one is?
And like, there's a few, if I wanted to be super nitpicky, there's a few points early on too when like the boyfriend, when he's a douchebag and his like redneck Australian friend show up and they get attacked. You know, I feel like someone on the island should have like left then. Like add a new character, just to leave then, and then be like, fuck you guys, and be like, wait, fuck, and then like get stuck or something. Because I feel like they all just kind of watch it happening, like that sucks or whatever.
I feel like that's a very natural car crash reaction.
Of course.
Though. It's just But yeah, maybe there'd be one dude because, I have a good sprint and jump. I could make it halfway and then just.
When they all fall in the water, none of those people die right then. And the boyfriend just died, but we don't know yet. And it felt a little like there's parts of it where when he's swimming with the rope, I was not nervous at all. Because I'm like, there's no way they're going to send him out with a rope just to have nothing happen. Like, the movie's far more interesting if he makes it and sets up the rope. So he's not going to die yet.
It kind of would have been really interesting if he just, we have, like, that would be the whole thing. Almost like what was that movie, Daylight, with the underground tunnel
with
collapse?
Stallone?
Yeah. Where, like, the guy's like, I'm a mountain climber, I'll save the day, and then he just dies.
Hope you make it. Get out of here. Move. I always make it, Saboteur.
Well, that might have been that scene, but I was just thinking, like, for the purposes of this movie, they don't have other options, so they're probably just going to.
Well, the thing you'll learn about any movie, not even just horror creature features, is you never have any options until you miraculously have a whole other option. True. So like there would have been something else, like we could make this and it will float over with blah blah.
Or someone shows up, or they do a thing. They actually have like a backup plan, which is the weird anchor, lure bait thing. Yeah, which occupies our main hero, and people do swim, and there's a whole situation or whatever.
He's like holding this rock.
That was weird.
And I'm like, you're what?
Hurry! It's not gonna hold. Okay, move it.
And maybe based on how leverage would work, like you'd be stronger than you would normally be because you're tilting back on this very heavy rock. I'm like, but that is a gigantic crocodile.
I was gonna say, like the croc like knocks the boat. And it's doing the same action against the.
When you see their boat, you're like, "That's your boat, God!" And it's right when they get onto the boat, they're right next to a much larger, nicer boat, and I'm like, "You couldn't have sprung for like that boat?
Was on the cheap
that
tour?
boat's giant."
Yeah.
Oof. Like it's such a small boat. The crocodile is able to pierce the boat by like nudging it. It like pops it almost out of the water.
Okay, we should.
Yeah, like even the second speedboat, it just bodies it, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's nothing type of thing.
Well, the speedboat kind of is nothing.
What's wrong with the boat? It's not gonna hold. Okay, move it. Get out of here. I always make it.
Yeah.
Well, the speedboat kind of is nothing.
What's wrong with the boat?
Yes.
Especially the fact that it was at a pretty fair clip when he hit it. So like he kind of was the ramp that thing needed to hit on. And when it landed totally back end. So the water just went right into it and just sunk.
Yes, but it's completely,
unlucky.
It is unfazed. It's just like, how you doing?
It's a, what did they say? It's a 21-foot croc, I think.
I forget
they gave it off.
Was it in the newspaper?
I think it was a 7-meter crocodile. I think.
Oh, it's in meters. Yeah,
I think that's what they said.
Oh, you silly units of measure everywhere else in the world but here.
Yeah.
So how big do they grow?
Well, that one there was a little one, but they can grow from 20 to 25 feet long, weigh up to 2 ton.
No, so like the rock business was kind of my like, oh, where is this going now? Oh, he's separate. Oh, she's doing it. Oh, the thing with the the dog. And then I'm like, wait, it's dawn? Did you get away? Well, it can't be like following you through the woods. Like, what am I supposed to be worried about here? And then it seems like he kind of hears them and is going towards them, but then he doesn't go toward them and the dog and all that stupid stuff. And I'm like, okay, like, and it's all just to get him back to the
dog.
Yes.
And he didn't. The dog dies.
By the way, yeah, crocodile 1, oh no, crocodile like 12, you 0.
Promise me you'll take care of him.
Promise.
But it did perform like it was an early warning system. He knew like Croc was coming in. Although I think he would have known pretty quickly that like gigantic thunder lizard fucker was coming in.
But he gets lured into the lair by the dog essentially, where he goes, oh, okay.
Kevin! Kevin!
Because I guess the dog smelling her was fine, and like my first reaction was, oh, that's so sad. The dog like finds her corpse, and now we're in the lair, and I bet it's gonna come home and be angry, and then she like is alive.
I said, come here, you little shit.
And I was like, what movie am I watching at this point? Like what is the whole thing? Like, you got away, and then you, like he didn't go back to, like, I'm going to finish what I started. But that's, like, for all intents and purposes, like, what the movie is. Where he's like, I'm going to go, like, he didn't think she was alive to go. It's totally random and accidental that he goes there.
That's why I almost would have loved based on a true story at the end.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's like, there are crocodiles in Australia, based on a true story.
And then if they, like, ask the guy, loosely based on a true story.
Because
what story?
It feels,
Fuck you.
it does feel like that kind of bullshit where you're like, that's so, why would that? And then they go like, this is based on a true, you're like,
what?
What?
I really need someone to track down those bags for me. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, where it's like lost hiker found after this many days or some stupid thing. Yeah, exactly.
Like 127 hours. Like, what? You cut your, oh my God, with a pocket knife? That's impossible.
That's fake. Cuts to the.
But that's the kind of shit where you're like, that's fake. How would you even do that? Real story. What?
True story. So him killing it was ridiculous. The whole fight to me was ridiculous.
It's definitely based in reality on how that kill happened. There's certainly a layer of movie magic and luck, the fact that it sprang at him this way so that it couldn't get him because of the rock. But like, man has been hunting large predators that way for quite some time.
You don't have to tell me, okay? I'm a certified deadly weapon.
The first time I was like reading about like boar hunting in that regard, I was like, holy shit, that's such a ballsy maneuver. Because even if you're like 100% I'm going to kill this guy, he's going to run himself into this spike. How do you know he's not going to run himself so hard that he just crushes you into the wall? Because a main part of that is to brace yourself against a tree or a wall or a rock, so that you are literally between a rock and a hard place coming at you.
I liked that maneuver. It reminded me of The Edge. With Hopkins and Baldwin. I dig that type of stuff, or like whatever. But yes, like the movie magic aspect, like had he not had a big stick, it would have just bitten the rock. Like it had to go so hard, so it had to deep throat this giant rock. And that's not, like, if I had enjoyed 100% of the movie, I wouldn't have been like, it's all ruined because of that one thing. Or whatever,
based on how it snapped and broke that stick twice, you'd assume it would do a similar thing until he was just dead.
Just nibble, just grab his leg, just go.
Yeah, at that point, though, that Croc was so fed up, he's like, you've interrupted my snack so many times.
This is the last time.
I kind of would have liked when it was coming at her sleeping in the root system, if it would have like ripped her arm off or something. Like it would have got her. We were like, oh.
Yeah. I hate to wish ill on anybody, but yeah, that's again and again.
Just because it would have been this like, oh, I didn't see that coming.
Right. It feels like, and like how like he finds like a little nook that it can't get to. And then it catches part of his hand, but that's like fine or something. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
That was rough because that they have snapping jaws that lock, and so he got his hands in there. So like really, he is what guillotined. Like he ripped his fingers off to pull him out of its mouth. Not to say that it would have opened its mouth and it would have just been there. They still would have been quite crushed.
No, I'm like, I think
maybe
you see the fingers later, but it's like just like a movie mistake thing or something. I remember seeing like red fingers and being like, your fingers were bitten off, my dude. Like, what's happening there?
I didn't catch that one, but I'll believe it.
Like, as much as this is a true nitpick, like in like the post thing, like let me see, Ninja Turtle hand or something like that. Yeah. So I know that.
Well, then they have his picture up on the wall of gators from that store in the beginning.
That's my like finale thing, where I will be pretentious or something like that, because I remember like the movie's bookended, or like in a way. Like the second book ends. The second book ends very, very thin though, right? Because the beginning is he's in that pub or bar or tavern or inn or whatever.
There's a guy out front of that pub that looked like he was super famous. Did you recognize that guy as like a famous Aboriginal actor?
As a famous blues musician?
No, like I think he was, and again, maybe he just looked like this dude, but he looked like the guy that like you'd see play an Aborigine in like everything.
In everything, like Crocodile Dundee and everything.
Actually, yes, Crocodile Dundee.
Most likely,
in that newer zombie movie with Bilbo. Like,
it's possible, but I'm not the right guy. I did not Google that or whatever. But
and maybe it just looks like him.
He's in that pub. He's chatting with the locals. He hates this place, and then we see the board and the other crocodile things, and he comments on his whole thing with that, right?
Yeah.
So like, since if they would have never cut back to that, I would have been like, oh, that didn't mean anything. That was just part of the like groundwork that we laid. But since it ends with him up there, I was like, what is this trying to say? He's just another story up on the wall? Why? What does that mean? Is this about him accepting the place or not hating it anymore or hating it more? Like, what are we doing here exactly?
I took it as that guy clips every article revolving around crocodiles.
Yes,
and that is an article revolving around crocodiles.
But then I like that shot there just feels weird to me as like a storytelling movie thing. It feels like it should be saying something about something that he ends up on the same board that earlier he was like, yeesh, look at that or something, right? It has to be, we have to do that for like a reason of some sort, right?
Well, I think the reason was it's a fun callback.
I'm saying whatever. It just feels like that's what I mean. It's like a disappointing lack.
Like, I don't think this shows the growth of man
there.
And how he can overcome and become one with the newspaper. Like, I just think it's he came there to write a travel article and got an article written about him.
Of course, my computer was in my bag, and I need my computer to finish the article. So could you call Greg at the office and tell him what happened?
That's the thing we could do. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Or because it's an article, something like that. Yeah, because that's his job or whatever. Yeah. Traveling around. Writing about fancy resorts.
I love that they lost his luggage and he's in a suit the whole time. I think that's just funny because it's like the hottest place in the world.
Jeez, must be cozy in that suit, eh?
Oh, the airport lost all my bags.
Well, it's going to be a real scorcher today.
Yeah.
And he's just there in his suit. He's sloshing around in his fancy shoes.
Yeah.
Which would have came off in the first mud.
like instantly, Yeah. There's something there too about being unprepared for the whole situation and roped into the whole thing or whatever.
Well, and then how the ones that like are prepared are not the ones that solve the problem. Like, his captain, his tour guide, she is the maiden in distress. The the Aussie wilderness going people that are hunting goose are killed. Pretty abruptly. One of them is just gone. The other one is just off camera. Like,
that's a weird thing too. I don't like that either. Then
with the wildlife.
Excuse me. I do like that because it's kind of like the beginning of Feast, where it's like, oh no, I'm here to save you, and these dies.
I'm the guy that's gonna save your ass.
Yeah.
Like I like
the
fish out of water aspect.
Yeah, it's
to
cool
it.
that it's unexpected, but I'm not sure what like uniquely prepares him to like solve this problem or whatever, right?
Nothing. That it just
there you go.
Like I don't.
Yeah.
I think you're reading deeply into it when it's just a story of like sometimes you have to do things you're not ready for, and then
there you go.
There it is.
I wish there'd been something like that in there.
I think that's what it was.
That's the thing too. Yeah, you can do that where like there's some dialogue or there's a thing or he says I can't do this or something and then he does it, right?
Well, he was pretty ballsy off the jump.
Okay, with his like dialogue, with his
he was
listen
there
asshole
defend,
or whatever. Yeah.
Hey, I'm looking at the brochure. I didn't see there's gonna be dicks here.
What the fuck are you gawking at for us?
One.
I don't know, I got the brochure but didn't say anything about assholes.
He's a poofter, mate.
See, a pile of assholes out there. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
So where is your like you love this movie? Like how far
I think
into
this is
are you like
I think it's a really well done movie. Yeah. I don't necessarily say that like this is a fun creature feature thing, but it's a good movie.
True.
Like I like creature features, and this doesn't have like the humor you usually get from them. It's not like your typical, because this is a theatrical movie like type of thing. And I actually don't know that it was.
I was just gonna.
But it has all the earmarks. Like
I didn't want to show you your point where it's like, oh, was it released theatrically? You're like, I don't fucking know.
No, I actually don't know that it was released theatrically. But,
Right.
but when you look at it, you would not be surprised by that fact.
No, it looks like a real movie, and it's doing ambitious stuff, and has a giant crocodile in it. So there's every reason for it to be cheap or weird or bad in certain spots where it's not. Right?
Yeah. Like this is not your Lake Placid. This is like this is a real scenario.
I can't remember Lake Placid. I didn't want to say it earlier at the counter, but I don't remember that movie at all. I remember Betty White and crocodiles. Sure. But if you were like picture the crocodile or the alligator like in that movie, I can't picture it. Well, did it look awful? Is that why you mentioned it and contrasted, or?
It doesn't look great, and you do see a lot. Like toward the end, you see a lot of it, and it is larger than life. Was mainly my point mentioning it earlier. Is like it. I think they might even say it's 25 feet, but in certain shots, you're like, it jumped out of the water and pulled a helicopter down. Like it was gigantic. And there's multiple of them, like of these giant things. It doesn't make sense to be. So like yes, Betty White was feeding this thing like cows every now and again. So like that is its only food source. It is being fed there because like it doesn't make sense to live in that area. Here you are in its home. Those are real things that actually live there. This wasn't a record-setting large crocodile.
Was it not? I don't know.
No, it's just.
I'm not sure.
21
how they go or whatever.
21 feet is a large crocodile.
Yeah.
But no, like the record's like 28 or.
It's not like impossibly big.
No.
Like yeah.
Like there are preserves in India that have crazy big ones.
It's not this like mutant sewer water turned a croc into a
monster. That's my point. Is that
Yes.
every step of this movie, I'm like that all feels based in reality and is normal. Like there's no crazy thing there where it's like this is a genetically altered alligator with microchips in its brain to hunt and kill. It is just a crocodile, and you're just in its area.
I just picture a crocodile and his like head peeks over the water, and then like a little laser sight starts to go, like it's from a stupid movie.
Yeah, they have that.
Is that a movie? Oh no, what?
There's a lot of bad things.
My favorite. This just reaffirms my entire like world view of like I never go anywhere, I never do anything. The whole time I'm like, why would you be on this tour in the first place? You're all idiots. You all deserve to die.
Well, I'd be on that bigger boat. This boat, I'm like, are you kidding me?
The boat that I would have to be on would be so big that it would be like scraping the bottom and the sides of that river and making it bigger the entire time that it went down and just crush that crocodile instantly.
I'm a big fan of like crocodilians in general. Like I think
this is a species that you're a big fan of. You're saying
that is the four major
the
types.
Genus or whatever. Yeah.
And
awesome.
I think it's a really cool animal. It's been around for so long. It's like it's the dinosaurs of the day.
Sure.
And so like. As a kid, spent a lot of time like with reading the books, watching the things.
Got your Ranger Rick,
that. Of course.
Got your Ecto Cooler.
But I could, as a child, would definitely be like, oh yeah, this would be fun, do this and that. And as an adult, you're like, this is horrifying. Yeah. Like the idea of like, oh, we're going on a glass bottom boat, and I'm like, you're dead. You're all dead. People that go like fishing and like, you're in a canoe. Are you an idiot? It's bigger than the canoe.
Yeah, like when people talk about like, oh yeah, for part of the year you hear like a scratching on the deck, it's the black bears out there trying to get at something. I'm like, move, burn your house down, sell your house, it's amazing.
Put in gun turrets.
Yeah, and Australia, right? Everything's trying to kill you there. Everything. It's a whole situation.
Yeah,
so.
no, Australia's a crazy place.
This is filmed on location in the deadliest place on earth. So
yeah,
like that's all believable. And most people, just by math, are not from Australia. So it might as well be a mythological land where there's impossibly large creatures for them anyway, right? So
indeed,
the average viewer is just going to be like, this is how it is.
No, but I give it 2 thumbs up for this movie. I think it's definitely a worthwhile. It's a catch. It is not only a good movie for being a creature feature, it's just a good movie in general. You don't have to like really like horror to enjoy this movie. You don't really have to like, I like big animals and blah blah. Like, it's just a fun horror movie.
Yeah, like it's a fine movie. I didn't think it was outstanding, but it's not like worse than bad.
I think it is outstanding in its field.
Like, sure.
Like if you were to weigh it against all, honestly, even in I'll weigh it in its field of horror. It is a higher tiered movie, but certainly in the creature world, it is top tier.
When I think of horror, it's like usually horror movies that are about things that could actually happen are like boring and they're like thrillers or whatever.
And this is one of those ones that could actually happen.
That's what I mean. Like when I hear horror, I think when your average person does, they're thinking of like Freddy Krueger, like some crazy ghost monster killer. You know, you got to go and do the thing and the ritual and seal the evil spirit back up like it's some crazy thing
That's
like that.
That's a quarter of horror, yeah.
Well, I don't know what the actual breakdown, right? But you have.
Well, nowadays it's things that could actually happen. So like you know, a guy with a hammer that just murders you.
Things or whatever.
And then like
we have to escape from this room.
Yeah. Then there's animals, there's ghosts, and there's like zombies or like the big slices of the pie.
Yeah. I mean, like the animal one is not like you have to know that you want that and
animal / monster.
Oh, okay. Well, to me, it makes a huge difference if it's a real animal or if it's a crazy fake monster demon.
Sure.
I can just be like now I'm like all of a sudden my interest goes, whoa! I'm super interested now if it's not a real animal, right? Because then it's like, what does it do? What does it want? What are the rules? How do you defeat it? I'm so or whatever.
For 90% of the movies, they'll never explain any of that, and you'll never know.
Sure. That's their problem.
It becomes your problem though as the viewer.
But I can still be interested regardless of whether or not my interest will be like paid off in the end or something like that. Yeah.
So would you rather watch this or something, say like Wyvern?
I don't know Wyvern.
We watched it.
Oh, okay. I would have said Wyvern for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah.
That's the same thing.
No, that's a bad movie, so I don't want to watch that movie again. But if I hadn't seen either of them yet, I would have probably chosen Wyvern or Wyvern.
Okay.
Or whatever. Yeah. Just like off the bat. Like I would rather have a zombie movie about some people that live out on a farm somewhere and it's mostly just them talking and the zombies are there, but it's not the focus. Versus a movie that's just people out there.
Zombie movie nowadays, anyways, that there's so many of them, and like that could be made by high schoolers. Like there's such a thing that like I have to know. I'm very hesitant entering a zombie movie now just because of how muddied the waters have become.
I just mean all things being equal. If it has an element like that, I'm more likely to be interested in because you could do anything there. It's more fun and interesting.
I like a fun concept, but in general, a good movie is a good movie to me, and I don't aim necessarily towards one type or another, but I like the creature features. And this is not even a creature feature anymore. It's like graduated to just being a movie.
Yeah, because the creature feature puts it into like a genre where it's like romance novel. It's like you're here for a reason. We're gonna give you what you want. Just stay in your seats. It's okay, right? That sort of thing. But this feels more like a movie. I'm not super into it, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Not as scared of the crocodiles in general as a movie-going experience, you know?
Well, again, it's not something I would be scared of in natural world because I'll never just randomly
No, I was
encounter
going to say,
one.
I'm terrified of them in real life.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this is an easy problem, guys. Don't be on that boat. Like, whereas if a demon is trying to get you in your dreams, I'm like, this is a tough problem. I don't know how to solve that one. What am I gonna do now? Yeah.
I think you gotta set the stage of you are that person in that problem. And that's how I get inside my own head. Where I'm watching a scene like, what would I do here? Oh God.
No, and
I have no idea.
A lot of this stuff on the Mud Island, definitely, and that moment in the finale where he turns around, like I definitely got those feelings and I was into it. Overall, though, I'm not like 10 out of 10 on it. But I'm definitely above a 5 out of 10. It's somewhere in the high 6, low 7 type of range.
Yeah,
like
that's
it's
fair.
not, and you're above that, and I respect that about you. I like that you're able to enjoy your life.
To get above that is like
in your rating scale, whatever you do with your numbers.
I don't
7 like
is
numbers.
A very high number because when you think about how many movies there are, how shitty movies there are. I've gone over my scale before. I 2 thumbs up is the best you're gonna get from me right now, and that's what I give for this movie. Yeah.
Maybe check it out.
All right, maybe check it out. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Local technique, mate.